It's so stupid, it's positively brilliant.
The Brilliant Reports Podcast.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
I thought the interview with you and Biden was absolutely it was brilliant. It was just great. You were in your bag. You were doing your thing, and that soundbite, I mean, really resonated. You know, when my parents that are in their 70s are texting me about an interview that you had, I know that it's hitting all generations.
Got you.
And
so it's the platforms, though. It's the platforms that like redistribute that kind of content. That's all it is. Like literally in anything that we do, it's just all about, you know, where people see content. Right?
Sure, but the content has to be exceptional enough that they'll want to share it, or it has to be provocative enough. It has to have something that's going to grab people's attention.
It's got to be news,
right?
Like, you know, that was news. Like, that's one of those stories that it made news. It wasn't just a viral sensation. It was literally headline news. It was on the front page of the New York Post. Like,
okay, so like, how do you feel about the interview, and how do you feel about the reaction to the line?
I knew it. I mean, I knew what the reaction to the line was going to be. I knew that. I pre-taped that the day before. So it's like, I've been doing this for a long time. you know when you got something, baby. You just don't know. You just don't know how big it's gonna be. Like, come on, man. What, I'm supposed to sit here and lie to y'all? You know when you're sitting on that gold. You know what I'm saying? You know when you're sitting on that platinum. Okay, and then you put a couple of feelers out there. You know, you send it to a few of the homies just to be like, bruh,
this just slaps.
Watch this tomorrow. No, matter of fact, I don't say nothing. I just send it to people, and then I get their reaction, and I'm like, oh yeah, this shit gonna slap. But I mean, it's interesting. The reason it's interesting for me, because I can look at it from a bunch of different ways. Like, I'm a person who respects honesty.
Okay.
So if your honesty is potentially dangerous, all right. If your honesty is, you know, loving and caring, all right. Mm-hmm. If your honesty is self-deprecating and revealing and transparent, cool. I just respect honesty.
Right. He
said what was honestly on his mind.
Right.
I don't know what to tell y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I saw people, his team was spinning it as a joke. I saw him on CNN yesterday. He was on Dana Bash's show. Taylor, you can play this clip.
I want to ask you about the remark you made last week on the Breakfast Club. You said, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or for Trump, you ain't black.
Well, first of all, it was a mistake, number one. And I was smiling when he asked me the question. I shouldn't have been such a wise guy with him. He was being a wise guy, and I responded kind. I shouldn't have done that. It was a mistake.
Yeah, I saw him on Dana Bash though, and he said he was being a wise guy.
No, he said you were being a wise guy.
Yeah, he said he was being a wise guy because I was being a wise guy.
Right.
That's what he said.
But did you feel like you said something wise before it? I don't remember any joke before it.
Come on, man. Yeah, listen. Y'all been listening to Charlamagne for a long time. If you just want to talk about Breakfast Club, you've been listening to me for 10 years. Y'all know when I'm being a wise guy. Uh-huh. Okay? Whatever the fuck that is. What is this, Goodfellas? Like, God damn it. Does Joe Biden always have to remind us how old he is? like Jesus Christ, man. When I saw the thing with Dana Bash, though, I laughed because I was just like, you know, that's classic. Like, he's the vice president, former vice president Joe Biden. He's old. He's white. He's powerful. When you have that level of power, that level of privilege, that level of entitlement, and you've had it for so long, everything is everybody else's fault. It just is. Everything is everybody else's fault. You know what I'm saying? Of course he would blame that on me being a wise guy. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not going to take, any responsibility or accountability for what came out of his mouth. That's not what politicians do. Come on, guys. Come on, man. like, what are we talking about here? Like, are we surprised by that? You know?
Right. Now
I had to look up the definition of wise guy.
And what did it say?
It said It said, what did it say?
A smart ass.
Yeah, it was what was it? Hold on, did I write it down? Let me see if I wrote it down.
All right, well, while you look that up,
oh yeah, so a person who speaks and behaves as if they know more than others are a member of the mafia. So I don't see how any of those definitions factor into the conversation we were having. But
right,
but whatever. If you think an old, powerful, privileged white politician is going to ever take full responsibility for his fuck ups, then you don't understand how the power of the privileged our politics works.
Now, do you think that he was trying to joke around? Do you think like in his core, he was trying to like joke around? He felt maybe comfortable enough with you that he could say that as a joke. If it was behind closed doors, do you think maybe he would have said the same thing?
I think Joe Biden is around a lot of black people who have that same sentiment.
Who have that same what?
Sentiment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like have that same sentiment. They look at not necessarily conservatives per se, but specifically Trump supporters.
Right.
And they look at black Trump supporters and, you can see how Donald Trump, has marginalized a lot of different communities, how he's oppressed a lot of different communities. So, they question, somebody's blackness in regards to voting for Donald Trump, because that's the thing. Like what is blackness, right? Blackness is something based off culture, right? And if you're black, you're supposed to protect that culture at all times, right? So if you're supporting something or someone that may not be supporting the culture, then you can be looked at as anti-black. Like I've seen that anti-black sentiment with Trump supporters. Like that's not a new thing. So I really do think Joe is around. I mean, Vice President Biden is around a lot of different people who probably say that so often. Or he probably asked the question. He probably does ask, like, why would a black person ever vote for Donald Trump? Right. He probably asked that question in his policy meetings, and when he's meeting with the NAACP and other black organizations, and they probably share that same feeling with him.
Right.
So he probably was repeating one of the talking points he's heard from his, circle. But some things must remain in the circle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some things must remain in the circle. But I see people that agree with what he said.
So that's the other thing.
I see black people that agree with what he said.
Yeah, the other thing that I would say is like, all right, so I saw him say it and I'm like, oh, wow, this is going to be fucking massive. And then I kind of sat back and I was like, wait a minute. Is what he's saying any different than the sentiment that we've seen on Twitter, that we've seen towards guys like Kanye West and other black people who have, worn the MAGA hat? It kind of seems like, I bet even a lot of our friends have probably tweeted things that are similar to, if you vote Republican, you're a sellout, or Absolutely. If you don't vote Democrat, you're a sellout. So in a lot of ways, he's getting roasted for really supporting the sentiment of a lot of the people who are roasting him.
Yeah, I mean, that was the most interesting thing about it when you look, right? It's very interesting to see that an old white man also looks at black people in that way. You know what I'm saying? Like the question of what makes someone black, that's really a discussion for black people to have, but, and white people aren't qualified to have that discussion. But like I said, people do connect blackness to support and protection of black culture. So, when you see a black person voting for Trump, and Trump is a threat to marginalized people in this country, it makes you question how much that person, cares about his people. So to see that through the lens of a white person, it kind of reinforced something that I always thought. And it's that white people don't respect sellouts. White people don't respect Uncle Toms.
Interesting.
White people may fear radicals, and they may not want radicals to say the things that they're saying because it upsets the status quo. Right. But I don't think they truly care about people who seem to not care about their own people, because how could I ever trust you? How could I ever trust you if you love me more than you love your own people?